Welcome to our presentation on the Jesus and Me program. This presentation is geared towards parents who are working at home with their own children, perhaps even doing the 30-day challenge. The purpose of this presentation is just to give you a feel for the program, make you comfortable with it, give you the confidence that yes, this is something that we can do at home. So the Purple program for kindergartners and first graders. The Purple program reflects our focus on Jesus. Purple represents kingship and royalty and priesthood, and our focus is on Jesus. We introduce Jesus as the Son of God, and yet as someone familiar. As our table of contents shows, someone familiar, like Jesus was a storyteller. Jesus was a teacher. Jesus was a friend. Jesus was a healer. People that these young children may see all the time, they know and be familiar with, and we want Jesus to be familiar to them. We start out session 1. Jesus was a storyteller. So the first thing we're going to do is have kids tell stories. Take a look at it and choose a picture. What does a lion and an ice cream cone and a mermaid have to do with one another? Make up a fun story. You as a parent, make up a story together with your child about the king and a shark and a tree. Talk about your favorite stories. Act them out. How many times have you watched your child's favorite movie or show or story? They don't get tired of it. And that's going to be our segue into the next requirement. It's God's big story. And this is a story that we never get tired of and that we want to hear over and over. There are blanks where the kids can add stickers, add drawings, write something to remind them of the story that God made the whole world and God made us. And people don't always do what God wants. But God sent Jesus so that we can know God, that we can learn what God wants. And even when we follow Jesus, we still don't do all that God wants. And so Jesus died on the cross, gives us forgiveness, offers us grace, offers us salvation. And Jesus, when he died on the cross, the story didn't end there. He was raised on Easter Sunday to new life, and we are part of that new life. We're part of that story. And so we read Jesus' stories over and over to learn more about God's love for us. This is going to set the tone for the whole program. So the story that children are going to read in the Bible is going to be the parable of the sower, when Jesus talks about 4 different types of soil. And you'll read the story, you're going to act it out, you're going to practice sowing the seeds, and you're going to act like what happens to the seed when it's choked by the thorns, and what would a seed look like when it grows and yields 100-fold. So have fun with it, act it out, talk about it, become real familiar with it, talk about the meaning. And then we come to the Jesus scroll craft. Since this is the first time it's introduced, the Counselor's Manual has suggestions for just talking about what scrolls were like in Jesus' time. And one of the suggestions that scrolls could be up to 24 feet long. And so get a tape measure, find out how long that is, and have the kid guess how long will his scroll be. Or get 34 sheets of paper if you have scratch paper, and if you can line up 34 sheets down the hallway. Will it get through the hallway in your home? How far will it stretch? So the first task for your scroll is you need 2 paper towel tubes. And on here we had a blank sheet of paper just so we had an extra flap to tape the first sheet of paper. And Jesus was a storyteller, and you're going to draw the scene that Jesus had such a crowd that he stepped into a boat and he talked to the crowd, telling them the parable of the sower of the 4 soils. And in the student workbook, there's going to be a cutout figure. You can add one of those glue dots to the back, and you can create the scene, tell the story that you learned in lesson 1, and you'll be moving that cutout figure from story to story as your scroll grows, as you add stories to your scroll. So Jesus was a storyteller. The memory verse, I've got it here at the bottom, and Jesus told him many things in parables. So kids will be adding a chapter to their scroll and memorizing a simple Bible verse. Lesson 1.